Hi, it's Marianne Clyde, and today my guest is Jennifer Goldman, President of Resonance LLC, making companies experience the best productivity that they can. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So can you tell us, just start out today just by telling us how all the different ways Resonance LLC helps companies engage?
Well, it's a community and government relations firm, so we work with businesses, government agencies, and nonprofits, just helping them engage more clearly and in more meaningful ways with their target market, and that is defined in different ways. The target market can be internal, as far as engaging with your employees or with a board, investors, or externally with clients or potential clients, possibly a government agency that you have to report to.
Well, cool. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the engaged employee, because employee engagement worldwide is pretty much at an all-time low, I think. And we want to look for creative ways to help our employees engage. So how would you define employee engagement?
Usually I know most people start with employee engagement as you alluded to, as how engaged are your employees. For me, it always starts with the top.
Okay.
How engaged are you with your employees? Really large corporations, of course, the top management, the board, isn't always going to see all the employees that are in remote areas. But for most of us, and a lot of people have small businesses, are your employees seeing you regularly? Do they know who you are? I had a client at one point who several employees didn't know who they were, because they showed up so rarely. And that doesn't help.
Right.
But having engagement with your employees is interacting with them. What kind of reputation do you have amongst them? What type of interaction do you have with them? Do you have a good open door policy?
Yeah, I would imagine if you're not there very much, you don't engage with your employees very much, it's really bad for morale. I don't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I'm here or not. Nobody's going to know. Right. And then it creates less work productivity, I would think, because it's like,
right.
I don't have to try
less
too
satisfaction.
hard. Yeah.
Great and engaged employees are usually much more satisfied with their job. They tell their friends about the work they do and how important they feel. They refer, friends and acquaintances to their place of business because they're so happy with it, and they would want other people like them to be working with them.
So as a business leader, what should we be looking for to see if our employees are really engaged. And if we're engaged with them on a good
when they
level?
run and hide when you walk in the door, that's a bad sign. Are people smiling? Are they doing their jobs and getting along? One of the things that I've always looked for is, are they engaging with each other as well? What do the relationships between the employees look like? I know I told you earlier, I had an example where I watched after work, the shop closed down at the night, and I watched all the employees wander off together to go hang out at another place. And I thought that was just fantastic to watch them go want to be with each other and socialize after work.
They didn't breathe that sigh of relief and go scatter. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Engaged employees will go above and beyond. They'll want to do more. They'll care about their environment. They'll pick up trash when they see it in the parking lot because it looks ugly where they are. They'll keep their area neat and tidy. Not everybody has a clean desk. I understand. Minds work in various ways, but they won't want it to be gross or disgusting. They'll care, and that's a great way to tell.
So what are some ways say a leader is looking at their employees and going, yeah, they don't like each other, they don't like me, they hide when I walk in, there's a lot of infighting, there's a lot of gossiping and, going off in the corner and breaking up into factions or cliques or whatever.
Right.
So what are some things that a leader can do to enhance employee engagement if they walk in and go, this isn't working?
Right. The environmental aspect that I mentioned, a lot of it, it's curb appeal. Do you feel good when you're just getting there, getting to your office? And it matters what the outside of the facility looks like as much as the inside. So one of them is just keeping it bright and clean and nice. One of the most genius things I'd ever heard of was, needed more landscaping, more outside work. And there are great Eagle Scout and Boy Scout, projects that people can do.
Low cost alternative.
Yes, and it's great because it freshens up the look, and it also engages the community. I had another company I wrote an article about that was great they had every Friday at noon, all the employees got together and had lunch in the cafeteria, and there was a presenter. And sometimes the bosses would bring in an outside presenter to talk about a certain topic that related to everybody. And the rest of the Fridays, it was up to one of the employees to share with the group of their peers and colleagues some new experience they had, or some new training they went through, or something that was engaging to everybody.
So everybody has an opportunity to present at some point in fun. Okay, what if somebody's terrified?
Well, first of all, you don't have to present. It was a voluntary basis, but, it is also a room full of your peers, and is a great way for them all to get to know a little bit more, especially it's a larger company. So it was a great way for all of the employees to get to know more about who else worked there and what type of job they did. Because, you work in different departments. You don't always know everybody.
So you get to know who the other departments are and so forth. So what else? That's a great idea.
Another example that I saw was a company that brought in a physical trainer every day at noon. They did an exercise class, and if you wanted to, you could spend your lunchtime hour working out with a physical trainer. I thought
that's
that was
a great way too, because I'm a big proponent of spirit, mind, and body all working together for your mental health, because the key component to the Zentivity culture we're trying to create is strong mental health in the workplace.
Right. And physical fitness helps your mental fitness.
Right, and providing an opportunity during the workday, so nobody has to go to the gym, so nobody has to buy a membership, so, nobody has to go running 5 miles before work, and it's efficient, and it recognizes the need for that.
Right, and a big thing for me is really transparency. Do the employees see what's going on? Do they know what the company's really about, what the mission is about? Are the people at the top, are they accessible? Could you walk in and ask a question or talk to somebody about an idea? That's a huge engagement thing. If the bosses are always behind closed doors and you don't feel like you can speak to them, then you're not going to open up.
So really good, open, straight, clear communication is important.
And for, if you are at the top, being receptive. Really listening.
Suggestions?
Yes, because, sometimes you don't have the best ideas, even when you're the boss and you're making the big bucks. All kinds of people have great ideas.
So losing the my way or the highway sort of philosophy. So
helps.
Important to take good feedback and negative feedback and thank the employee for giving it. And then figuring out, if you hear that negative feedback over and over, do something.
Right. And, one of the other things that I always look at is, a turnover rate. Are your employees engaged enough that they want to climb to the top of the ladder where they are? Or are they using this as a stepping stone because it's a, temporary type situation? This job here will get me to this job over there.
Right. It's just
and they're not that engaged if they're really just looking for that experience right here to move them somewhere else.
So do you have any suggestions for getting people engaged on that level, on creating kind of a friendly competition, or not that you want to drag anybody down, because we don't want to do that, but we want to be a team, and we want to, if you grow, I grow. If you benefit, I benefit. If you're good, doing well, I'm doing well.
And one of the simplest, easiest, free things is recognition. Just recognizing, thanking people for the good work that they do, even as simple as sending out a mass email to all the employees saying, so-and-so just did this. Isn't that amazing? When you see them, congratulate them, or, give them a pat on the back. Just acknowledging the good things that people do.
That's huge, isn't it? Just positive feedback. Kind of catch them doing something right.
I know. Even simple things like, I know companies do it all the time. It's so-and-so's birthday.
Yes. Yes.
Bring in a little cake or a dessert or something like that, just to show people that they are important to you. That keeps them there. And there are ways, obviously, that cost money that some companies can't afford to do, like paying for training, paying for education, just making sure that they always have access to what they need in order to gain experience and knowledge to bring them to the next level.
Even something like that, if you don't have the money to bring in a huge corporate trainer or send them to Las Vegas to do a training or something like that, even internal videos to do this job or this job or this job that they can always have access to might be a way to do that. That's a good, yeah.
And the time to do it. Is it okay for employees to go, you know what, I'm going to take this hour and sit down here and watch these videos that enhance my knowledge.
Right.
Instead of, somebody coming around and saying, well, you're not being productive, you're not working on your project.
Right.
Just having that allowance of time.
Well, even having a resource room of books and manuals and things like that that they can always have access to.
And it's so telling just walking around a place of business, because you can see, are people, are they doing work? Are they chit-chatting? Are they, what does the environment look like? It's just so simple to see if you walk around, if you're willing to really take a look. And sometimes the people at the top.
And that's important, to be willing.
Yes.
To be willing to see.
And there's unfortunately, there's a lot of complacency. When you own a company or you manage a business, and you're seeing the same environment every day, little incremental declines don't really catch your attention.
Right.
And you have to be willing to come in or hire someone to come in and look in an unbiased way as if you've seen it for the first time.
Did you mention to me something about a secret shopper kind of approach at one time? How did that work?
And it was great, and it's great fun to be that secret person that nobody knows. But yes, I had a client who asked me, basically wanted to know if his employees were knowledgeable about certain things that they did there. It wasn't an event venue, but they did have events. You could rent the space, and he didn't know if the people in the company really knew about that or how to answer questions about it.
Okay.
So I got to go in.
What'd you learn?
And I learned that they didn't always know how to answer the questions, but they were very friendly. They were very customer service. They were very, let me go ask so-and-so who probably knows more about that. Or, the manager is right downstairs. Let me get them for you because she can answer all the questions. So what I found was they needed a little bit more training, a little bit more knowledge about the topic that he was concerned about. However, they never left it with an unanswered question. They were going to figure it out. They were going to be resourceful.
Which is huge.
And that's a great thing.
Well, that's what you find out where the deficits are and you improve them rather than find out where the deficits are and then condemn people about doing
exactly.
that.
Yes, heads don't need to roll.
Right, right. But let's fix it mentality. If this is a problem, we'll fix it.
Exactly.
So I know you're also a big proponent of being engaged, not just in your business per se, but in the community.
Absolutely. Corporate responsibility.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how we as leaders can get our companies more engaged in the community.
Sometimes business leaders have their own special charities or causes that are very personal and special to them. And they will basically form a project that benefits that cause that everybody can get involved in.
So perhaps on a Saturday, we're all going to go to Habitat for Humanity and help build a house.
Exactly. Or we're all going to walk this walk to raise funds for some sort of health awareness or research, things like that. There's also a lot of companies who will give time to employees. We ask that you spend 5 hours a month giving your time to the community,
to any community event or
to anything that's special to the individual employee. But that's company time that they're taking. And some companies will allow that. And they have
That's
to,
a great idea.
They have to record it. They have to show what they've done, but it is, it's basically paid leave to go and volunteer in the community, which is great. And then there are things like event sponsorships and events, to go and present yourselves there.
Buying T-shirts for the local baseball team.
Exactly, yes. Things like that. And just, there's such a great number of nonprofits, especially in our area that I know. And they all need help.
Right.
So if you have the ability, get your company involved, go spend a day where everybody volunteers at the Spring Festival or, helps raise funds for some cause or another. And it's a great team building thing as well as community building, because then your
True.
employees, in some of those ideas, your employees are all working on the same thing.
So it not only helps engagement with the neighborhood and the community, but it strengthens the relationships between the employees, because if you and I didn't hang out normally together,
Right.
or I'm from the tech department, which I'm not,
Me either.
or you're from the finance department, we may never have a need to have our paths cross. So it's another way, like that luncheon, kind of
Exactly.
like the lunch and learn sort of event that you were talking about, where you can meet employees from
Absolutely.
different parts of the
different
company.
interaction with, like you said, so it's not getting so cliquish in the company, interacting in different ways with different people.
Which is really important, because different departments can kind of, marketing doesn't always like finance, and, because they clash, and all that kind of stuff. So to
Right.
get people interacting between them
It is,
really
and
a
sometimes
good
there can be, competition between departments. Like you
Yeah.
said, especially with finance, everybody wants the funds and needs them for their function, and also just a different mindset. That tech
Yeah.
person thinks very differently than the finance person does.
Right.
But when they are working on a common goal,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier to see them as just another person.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me what your biggest, strongest advice to leaders is about employee engagement that we can leave our viewers with.
My biggest advice really would be get to know the people who are working for you. I had a crew of about 25 that I was management consulting for. And it really was interesting to know, okay, well, this is their primary job function, but these are all human beings. What else do they like to do? And once I got to know the people on a different level, I could say, you know what? She is really great at decor. So when we have an event, I'm going to give you a budget and you figure out what we need and you decorate the space. And this woman was really great at just the fine details. You look at the molding around the floor and the dust would bother her. So, grab that woman a bottle of wipes and let her go to town.
Yeah.
And one person was great at landscaping. So you know what? We've just changed seasons. Let's figure out what kind of plants are going to go here. And so all of a sudden, their jobs became, more interesting.
Personal.
I was a little worried at first because I thought, you never know what's going to happen when you ask someone to do something more than what their job really is.
How about if you do the landscaping this weekend?
I know. But it was amazing because everybody became a little bit more engaged. And when you find out what interests people and you allow them to do that and you give them the freedom and you empower them that way, they all became much more satisfied. Their job wasn't standing around waiting for customers anymore. It was, while I have time and there's nobody right here, I'm going to go take a look outside and see, what plants I can envision here. Or, they all had other parts of their job that weren't there before that gave them some sort of fulfillment and enjoyment.
Which makes them more engaged.
And the place was looking better.
That's right. And so when you say get to know your people, my guess is you're not talking about sending out a blanket questionnaire. You're talking about having a cup of coffee, taking them out to lunch, meeting them after work maybe, or
even stop by their desk and have a conversation. Do you know their kids' name? Do you know whether they have children? Did you have an anniversary? Just even
human
chit
stuff.
chat. Yes,
Yeah.
be a human being with your employees. Get to know
Right.
them, who they are, things that interest them, because you can always find other ways to involve them and be involved.
I think some people are afraid of being too human with their employees, just because they're afraid it might
Demean their
bring
authority.
them down a notch or something like that. And there is a thing about being too engaged and too friendly.
Right. You don't want to be their buddy necessarily.
Right, right.
I mean, you're still going to be an authority figure,
Right.
the boss. But there's nothing wrong with being a human being that other people like.
That's right. That's right. So important.
It is.
So get to know your people. That's Jennifer's big advice for you as a business leader. And I thank you so much for joining us. And Jennifer, thank you for coming and sharing
Thank you
your
for having
advice
me.
with
This
us.
is great.
And join us again for more programs to come.